everyone, Jess here, and today I'm joined with Vijay Dheap. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Jessica. It's got to be here.
So, last year we really saw airlines and airports dipping their toe with using genAI in customer experience. We're now seeing that become much more of a priority. Everyone's very keen to jump on the bandwagon, but where's the best place to start?
Well, there's a lot of excitement, and oftentimes we recommend organizations start with intelligence, and it's a great place to apply generative AI. To know the conversations that they're having with their stakeholders, whether it's travelers, their employees, etc. Now, we can now do automated listening at a level of nuance and granularity that was impossible before. We had to manually listen to these calls and figure out where things went wrong. Now, we can leverage generative AI to not only know the topics being discussed, but what the intent was and what the root cause was, where they are in the journey moment, and all of those details. Now, why? That intelligence allows you to model your best agent's behavior to drive self-service. What should you prioritize from a self-service? What should you do first, second, and third? That's where the intelligence comes in. And then, as you get more of these insights, you're able to look at your end-to-end CX practice and look at other opportunities to incorporate generative AI.
Absolutely. And then once you have those insights, you've touched on a few ways you can use them to power, but what are the most transformative ways that we can see this make tangible change?
Yeah, so it's always, many brands still want to maintain that human experience. And so when you look at contact centers, for example, you can look at where the agents need help. Because when you're delivering that human experience, you want your human agents to build rapport instantly. You want them to appear knowledgeable. But we know that in the contact center, there's a lot of issues around retention. There's a lot of issues around training. So what we can do now is using those insights, but applying the next set of generative AI capabilities to provide proactive guidance, proactive information, and automation of standard experience support. So all of a sudden, the organization is able to force multiply their existing capacity of their contact centers tremendously. And that also helps job satisfaction for these agents. Then when we look at how do we drive more of that, the more sophisticated use cases to agents, then we get into journey orchestration. Like for the simplest parts, for the information access, etc., we can automate that. We can provide more human-like experiences. In the past, when we used to do self-service, it was very bot-driven. Question, answer. Now, we can be more consultative. We can leverage, we can simplify integration with back-end systems to provide access to dynamic information much more faster. And not only that, we can use generative AI to drive more prescriptive engagement as well. Because in a regulated industry like airlines, you want to be very precise in booking. You want to be very precise in ancillary sales. You want to know the transaction completed, right? So there's no ambiguity. But the orchestration of that experience can be powered by generative AI.
Absolutely. And then it's a gift and a curse, but this technology is evolving really rapidly. How can companies even try to keep pace?
That's the beauty of where we're at in the evolution of the industry. One of the things that we recommend organizations is to look at how to abstract out the complexity. There's usually two parts to the organization, right? One is your product teams or your experience teams that are focused on delivering value for your customer experience or your traveler experience. They need to be unleashed in serving that need without having to worry about creating siloed experiences or having to worry about obsolescence of the technology. Then you have your IT teams that need to be able to absorb this technology. They need to be able to provide choice. They need to be able to optimize cost and performance. So what we look at is how do you provide that experience middleware? So there's a standard interface where you can innovate on the experience side, and then on the back end, practice responsible AI, where it's predictable, it's tested, it's validated, there's predictability in the answers, there's audit control and security, and then you want to be able to manage it, because if the IT organization doesn't provide a standard for the innovation teams, then you get a mixed match of technologies. You run the risk of having lack of context or continuity of that engagement. And sometimes you might adopt technologies that are not validated or assessed. And then the last part we really look at is configurability. The organization, at the end of the day, in generative AI, the differentiation comes from your content, your APIs, and the experience that you create as a brand will be unique, and that is your competitive differentiator. So giving organizations that choice, that flexibility to bring their data and use their resources, and that's why we kind of recommend this experience middleware approach to kind of absorb this technology change, as well as unlock your experience innovation.
And you've touched really eloquently on a lot of the benefits that can be made with leveraging GenAI to its full potential. But what about the challenges? What do airlines and airports really need to be looking out for so they don't waste investment and resource?
Yeah, so oftentimes the inertia of becoming an observer rather than a participant in new technologies is knowing what works. And in generative AI, there are some real risks. There's hallucination. Now, things have gotten better, but you still can't, an 80%, even 90% accuracy is not good enough. So oftentimes organizations say, let's wait until the solution matures. But what are the facilities that you can put in place, such as an audit control, such as a security control, such as a review process, such as a quality validation process? All of these are frameworks and approaches that an organization can use to add rigor and not just simply leverage generative AI stack out of the box. So this is what makes a consumer technology enterprise grade. The other risks is false starts, and you adopt a verticalized solution, and you end up just picking up more of these, and then what happens is the customer journey is broken yet again. You're just having more advanced technology. It does certain things really well, but there's no continuity, and you're back to having to rethink and break down the silos again. So what we recommend is, as you look at generative AI, you really look at it not just a build versus buy, but why not get the benefits of both? And look for solutions that allow you to customize the experience, but not have to worry about basic underpinning capabilities. And so leverage that very efficiently and make your technology choices where the context of a traveler, an employee, are able to be transferred from one solution to the next. And so those are some of our recommendations for customers getting started and avoiding the risks.
That's great. Thank you for elaborating on those. It's really good to have some clear, actionable insights. And then just thinking about the event more broadly now, how do you think events like these help to drive innovation within the industry?
Many organizations wonder about the state of the art. And an event such as the Aviation Festival for Americas allows them to get a pulse for learning, for what's real, and knowing the transfer of knowledge on how they can embrace change. And oftentimes it's not just the technology, it's process, what process innovation has to coincide with the technology innovation, as well as what are the people considerations? How will this impact organizational change? And so those are the types of conversations a festival like this allows you to have with your peers, other airports, airlines, as well as with your solutions providers, whether they be software or services. And I think it's important to have the full spectrum of those conversations. And this is the gathering place. It's, at the end of the day, it's still a human experience. And the nuance, the soft skills that organizations can learn at these events is crucial for driving that innovation. It's also knowing what the low-hanging fruit are from real-world use cases that others have tried and tested, because we want to know that we're investing in things that have higher probability of success. And that's what that's what we've heard customers really appreciate about these gatherings.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights today.
Well, appreciate your time, Jessica. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.